Alright everybody, so today in the classroom series we're going to talk about two subjects that came from you. The students of the second grade class gave me these options and I think this will be a fun video to do. So we're going to talk about beetles and hornets. Get right into it. Beetles. Now there's so many kinds of beetles. So what I went ahead and did is I narrowed it down to the top 3 good beetles, in my opinion, and the top 3 bad beetles, pest beetles, beetles that when you see, they gotta go. So that's what we're gonna do on this video, beetles and hornets. Okay, so let's talk about the bad beetles first. Let's get them out of the way, because we don't like the bad beetles, right? They're bad. So let's just get rid of them really quick, okay? The first beetle that I decided to put on this list is called a flea beetle. Now they're really tiny, as you can see in the pictures here, and what they do that makes them a pest is they eat holes in the leaves, as you can see here. Now they attack a lot of different types of vegetables: radishes, cabbage, eggplants, peppers, tomatoes, and potatoes. So they're bad. We don't want them. Now if there's a lot of these beetles, these little flea beetles, they will attack a plant and they'll wilt it or they'll kill it. They're black and bronze, bluish or brown, to metallic gray. So they've got a wide range of colors. Now their back legs are super long compared to their body, and just like a flea, they can jump. So these beetles can jump like a grasshopper. Now how you control these kind of beetles, besides using pesticides, which I don't use in this garden, this is an organic garden, so everything here is natural. I do not use pesticides. You can plant plants that will attract a certain type of wasp that actually kills these beetles, and that is how you get rid of the flea beetle if you don't use pesticides. But yeah, that's number 1 down. Now let's go to the second one. Okay everybody, so my second pest beetle that I consider a big problem is the Colorado potato beetle. Now don't get the name confused. They're not only in Colorado, they're everywhere. And what they do is they attack potatoes, and not just potatoes, but eggplants, tomatoes, peppers, and ground cherries. They attack a broad range of vegetables in your garden. Now as you can see right here, they are oval in shape. They're kind of like a yellowish orange, and the cool, I mean if you want to call it cool, but the interesting thing about these little beetles is that on each of the wings they have 5 stripes. So they're really easy to identify. They live in the soil, and they will come up at night or during the day, I guess whenever they get hungry, and they will attack those plants. So when you see them, here's how you get rid of them. With your fingers. Okay, so you pick them off of your, whenever you see them, you just use your fingers, pick them up, put them in a soapy bucket of water. That's how you kill them. That's how you get rid of them. That's it. It's a really simple way to get rid of these, little beetles, and they're really easy to see, so it's not like they can hide. That's the Colorado potato beetle. Now, let's move on to our third and final pest beetle. Okay, the third beetle that we're going to talk about is the cucumber beetle. Now, these come in 2 different types, striped and polka dotted. And as you can see in the pictures, you can totally tell the difference. They're about that long, they fly around, they've been in this garden. And as you can see, this was last year, right here on my cucumbers that I had planted in this spot. This year, these are squash, but last year, they were cucumbers. Even though they're called a cucumber beetle, they will eat squash and melons. So when you have cucumbers, squash, or melons, you have to be looking out for these beetles because they will destroy your crop. So their larva eats the plant roots. They'll be down in the dirt, in the soil, eating the plant, the roots of the plant, where the adults come up and eat the leaves. Okay, for the cucumber beetle, their life cycle is about 40 to 60 days. So they don't live very long. But in that time, they are transmitting diseases, laying eggs, and continuing the process. So when you see them, they gotta go. You gotta kill them. They're no good. Okay, so in my opinion, those are the 3 bad beetles that I wanted to focus on for my backyard. Now, let's go to the good beetles, because I'm kind of tired of the bad ones. Okay, everyone, so let me introduce Dewey to everybody. Dewey the duck. My daughter named him, and I have to introduce him to everybody, because if not, she's gonna be upset with me. So, everybody, Dewey the duck. Okay, so we've already talked about the bad beetles. And yes, I'm using notepads because I don't know everything. So let's talk about the good beetles. So we're gonna start with the soldier beetle. Now, the soldier beetle looks like this. It's about a ½ an inch long, yellowish to tannish brown, and their color is thought to be a warning sign to other predators. Hey, don't eat me. You're gonna get sick or die. So that's why their colors look the way they do. These beetles are related to the firefly, except they don't have the chemical that fireflies do that produces the light. But they're like a distant cousin to the firefly. The adults will eat larva eggs, nectar, and pollen. They are a very helpful beetle because as they're getting the nectar and the pollen, they're in the flowers. And then when they're going from flower to flower, they're doing what? They're pollinating. So they're a pollinator, right? So they're good. We like these beetles. And another thing, they don't damage the flowers. So when you see these beetles in the flowers, hey, just like the bumblebees and the honeybees, right? We leave them alone. We just let them do their thing so they can pollinate and go home. That's all they want to do. They don't want to do anything else. They just want to do their job and go away. So yeah, that's the soldier beetle. Kind of a cool name for a beetle. Kind of like it. Okay, my second beetle that I want to talk about is the ground beetle. Now there are over 40,000 ground beetle species worldwide, and in America there's about 2,000 different species of ground beetles, but they all kind of do the same thing. Now a ground beetle is really helpful to the garden because they'll eat moth larvae, slugs, fly maggots, weed seeds, and caterpillars. Now they have a lot of predators that also want to eat them, and some of those are ants, lizards, spiders, birds. So even though they're really helpful for the garden, there are other animals that like to eat them too. So what they'll do is they'll stay down inside the garden, down in the soil, under cover, under logs or rocks or anything that you have in the garden that they can hide under during the day, and then at night they'll come out. So usually, unless they're disturbed during the day. These beetles, they can live up to 2 to 3 years. So they have a good lifespan. They're around for a while. So if they're in your garden, you just leave them alone. Again, let them do their job. Some of these beetles do have pinchers on their mouths. So if you pick them up, be prepared, they might bite you. So I would recommend just leave them alone. So that's the ground beetle. Let's go to my favorite beetle. And I'm sure y'all can figure out which beetle we're about to go to. But let's go talk about the ladybug. Okay, the ladybug. Now there's a lot to talk about the ladybug. And did you know that the ladybug actually isn't the ladybug's name? Its actual real name is called the lady beetle. Calling it a ladybug is kind of like a shortcut way of just naming it. But its real name is Lady Beetle. Is that kind of funny? And I didn't know that until I started researching this video. So, hey, we all learned something, right? Now, for a ladybug to go from egg to adult is about 4 to 5 weeks. They mature really fast. And a ladybug larva, which you can see right here, looks like a little red and black alligator running around the plants. And the good thing about these is that they eat and eat and eat. So when they are growing, they're eating up every bad pest that they can find. A lot of aphids is what they really like to eat. A ladybug can live between 1 and 3 years. So again, they have a good life cycle, and over the winter, they will actually hibernate just like a bear, Kind of funny, right? It's a little tiny bug hibernating like a bear. Now, as you can see right here, ladybugs don't just come in red and black. They have a lot of different colors depending on the species. The species of ladybug that's mostly in America are the red and black ones that we're used to seeing, with the little spots on them, the red shell with the little black spots. That's what we're used to seeing, but there's a lot of different colored ladybugs out there. A hungry adult ladybug can eat around 50 aphids every day. So if you have a plant that has a bunch of aphids on them, what you want to see are ladybugs coming in to eat them. That's what you want. And if you have ladybugs in your garden, you leave them alone. They are there to do a job, and that's to kill the bad pests. And they don't hurt our plants, so we just leave them alone. Don't even mess with the ladybug. Fun fact about ladybugs is they smell with their feet. Could you imagine that? Smelling with your feet? And they smell with their antennas. So everywhere they're walking and everywhere they're feeling, they're smelling. It's crazy. Ladybugs, when they're threatened, can actually flip over and play dead, kind of like a possum, if they feel threatened. So if you see a ladybug upside down, it's probably not dead. It's probably scared. So again, leave them alone. Let them do their thing. Okay, and those are the 3 types of beetles that I think are super, super helpful in the garden. Now, I won't say they're the top 3, but in my opinion, they're the top 3. And ladybugs being number 1. Okay, now that we've discussed the beetles, the 3 bad beetles and the 3 good beetles, now we're going to talk about hornets. I did a video last week or the week before last about bees and wasps. And in that video, I mentioned hornets being a larger species of wasp. And the classroom wanted me to talk more about the hornets. Okay, so hornets are going to be bigger than wasps. They're just a larger, let's say, cousin to wasps. Their size is intimidating to a lot of people because they do look kind of scary. I mean, as you can see, they look kind of mean. If you see a really big bee that looks like this flying around, just stay away from it. Let it be. Get it? Let it be. Now, the good thing about a hornet is that they are nature's pest controllers. They eat pests. That is what they do. Besides eating nectar and sugary substances like sap out of trees or soda cans or candy or rotten fruit, they are a carnivore. So they will go after and eat pests. So they're good in the garden in that sense. But what makes them kind of a bad bee is that they like to kill honeybees. We don't like that because remember, we like honeybees. We need honeybees because honeybees are pollinators, probably the best pollinator. But a hornet will actually eat bumblebees and honeybees. A single hornet can kill up to 40 honeybees in a minute. So imagine what one hornet can do to an entire colony or to a nest. It's not good, right? Because bumblebees can't kill the hornet. The hornet's skin is just too strong. So American honeybees have a predator in a hornet. So we don't like hornets for that reason. Hornet nests, as you can see here, look like big footballs, kind of. A little different, but they look like footballs. And they can be really big. Now, hornets will put their nests in 2 different places, either up high or in the ground. So if it's up high, it's in like attics or trees or underneath decks, porches, things like that. If they're in the ground, they will usually use old rodent tunnels, and they will go down and colonize those tunnels. Now, considering how big hornets are, they are considered a gentle giant because they are relatively non-aggressive. Unless their nest is disturbed, then they become aggressive. But if their nest isn't disturbed and you just see them flying around, for the most part, they're gentle. They don't want to bother you. If you see them, just leave them alone. Just like with everything else. Just leave them alone. Back away from them, let them do their thing. Now, the size of a hornet makes them dangerous if they do sting, because their stingers are bigger, which means that their stingers have more venom in their stingers, and they could be very, very dangerous to humans. Okay, and that's everything I know about hornets. I hope you, since you all wanted beetles and hornets as a topic for the classroom series, I hope you all enjoyed this. I had fun researching, and as you can see, I've been using a notepad because I had to write everything down. I don't know everything about everything, so I had fun learning about these insects also. So thank you for having me do this video. Okay everybody, so that's all I got for today's video about beetles and hornets. If you all did enjoy this video, hit the like button, share the video if you found it educational at all, and if you saw this video and you enjoyed the content, consider subscribing to the channel. You can check out this channel on Facebook and Instagram. Just type in Down Home Backyard Gardening and you'll find me. Alright classroom, I want more topics. Okay, so your homework is to give me more topics because the school year is getting close to ending and I need ideas to keep rolling through the summer because we're going to keep the classroom series going. I'm doing this for you all and I don't want to stop. I want y'all to get outside, continue growing something or start growing something. Get some dirt under your nails and have fun outside. Until next time class, shine bright and harvest hard. Bye. First beetle that I decided to put on this list is called a flea beetle. Is called a flea beetle. Okay, so that was the 3 bad beetles. My opinion. Okay, so that was in. Okay, so. Okay, that bug right there is a good bug. We're gonna leave that bug alone. And that's a ladybug. So the ladybug is healthy. We'll leave that bug alone. Totally thought I just saw one of them flying. But it was a different bug. That was a bug that you want to keep with. I just can't remember the name of it. Just pick them up, put them in a soapy pail. Really? Just scared the... Now let's talk about hornets.